Today we have one job, and only one job, and that's to make sure the people of Florida get everything that they need to fully, thoroughly recover.
U.S. President Joe Biden stressed unity as he met with Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis to tour the widespread devastation from Hurricane Ian. Biden and DeSantis, the president's potential Republican rival in the 2024 election, have clashed over many issues, including climate change. While Biden did not shy away from the topic,
there's a lot going on.
Opening his remarks by saying the storm showed that climate change is real and needed to be addressed, the pair largely set aside their differences to focus on the task at hand, rebuilding Florida through coordinated federal and state efforts.
It's going to take years for everything to get squared away in the state of Florida, to fully recover and rebuild.
DeSantis, for his part, said he appreciated the team efforts.
We are cutting through the bureaucracy. We are cutting through the red tape, and that's from local government, state government, all the way up to the president.
Biden and DeSantis stood shoulder to shoulder in Fort Myers as they met with victims of the hurricane. Last week, Ian made landfall in Florida as a Category 4 hurricane, killing more than 100 people and leaving hundreds of thousands of homes without power for days. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, said it would cost the federal government billions of dollars to repair the damage from the storm.
To everybody who are watching me, please help us out, come forward, so my family come home safe.
A tearful plea from a relative of the Singh family. His 4 family members, including an 8-month-old baby girl, remain missing after being kidnapped from their trucking business in Merced, California on Monday. The suspect, Jesus Manuel Salgado, is in custody but is being hospitalized after a suicide attempt. Police are trying to determine if another person is involved. Vernon Warnke is the county sheriff for Merced.
43 years doing this, everything points to it was probably somebody else, but we don't know. Until we get some kind of conversation going with the suspect, we're not 100%. It's just that seeing everything that's gone on, I fully believe that there was at least one other person involved, but we don't have any evidence to support that.
Video surveillance from outside the family's business shows the moment they were taken. On Monday morning, a man whose face was obscured by a medical-style mask is seen leading 36-year-old Jasdeep Singh and his brother, 39-year-old Amandeep Singh, away. The suspect appears to have a firearm in his hand, and the victim's hands are zip-tied. The suspect drives the victims away in a pickup truck before returning. He then takes 27-year-old Jasleen Singh and her daughter. The family has not been seen since. Police were alerted to the crime after finding Amandeep Singh's black 2020 Dodge Ram pickup truck burning on the side of a county road. While investigating, sheriff deputies were unable to reach the family and ultimately determined they had been abducted, leading them to the trucking business. Another family member, who only gave his name as Balwinder, made a plea to the public.
We are devastated, we are shocked, we are dying every moment, not finding any clues. So if anyone has seen anything, even a small interaction, somebody at the gas station, somebody buying something, where the suspect was taking them, any shifting of cars when he was doing that, or if he was doing that, so please do come forward. Any small lead could get us to our family.
Authorities took Salgado into custody after the family's ATM card was used at a nearby bank. While a motive has yet to be determined, the sheriff said it may have involved money.
Wall Street finished slightly lower on Wednesday after briefly entering positive territory in a late-day rebound. But stocks were unable to sustain the rally as investors couldn't shake fears the Federal Reserve would keep interest rates higher for longer. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all ended down fractionally after employment data showed U.S. labor demand remained strong, potentially giving the Fed reason to stay aggressive in its fight against inflation. Eric Sterner is Chief Investment Officer at Apollon Wealth Management.
The markets are continue to be in a tough spot as the Fed is looking to hike rates, and we have to tame and bring down inflation to normal levels. And while we saw a rally over a strong rally over the last 2 days, I think of it nothing more than really a dead cat bounce, and that just investors were reacting to oversold conditions. But we have, I think, a long way to go from an inflation perspective and the Fed raising rates perspective before we see a sustainable rally that hopefully will trigger a new bull market.
Energy stocks jumped after OPEC and its allies agreed to cut oil production by 2 million barrels a day, or 2% of global demand, the deepest cut to output in more than 2 years. Shares of Twitter lost momentum a day after surging 22% on Elon Musk's decision to proceed with his original offer to buy the social media company. Shares of Tesla, the electric car maker headed by Musk, fell more than 3%. After a source told Reuters the billionaire and Twitter may soon reach an agreement to end their litigation over the $44 billion deal.
Iran's clerical rulers have been grappling with the biggest nationwide unrest in years, with support spreading abroad in Western capitals.
Down with terrorist regime of Iran.
Here's what you need to know. People across Iran have joined protests since the death of Mahsa Amini in the custody of morality police, who detained the 22-year-old in Tehran on September 13th for inappropriate attire. The officers, who enforced strict hijab rules, rejected accusations she was beaten, saying she fell ill as she waited with other detained women. Students and universities have become a focal point of the demonstrations. The greatest challenge to the country's clerical elite in years, amid calls for the downfall of the Islamic Republic. But many Iranians, including celebrities, have taken part or offered support for the protests. 3 weeks in, rights groups say thousands have been arrested and hundreds injured, with over 150 deaths. The Iranian authorities are waging a deadly crackdown, even if observers do not believe the Shiite clerical establishment is close to being toppled. President Ebrahim Raisi has ordered an investigation into Mahsa Amini's death. Ayatollah Khamenei says it deeply broke my heart, but he's given his full backing to security forces. The Basij, a volunteer militia affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guards, has played a big role in quelling the unrest, alongside riot police. Video said to have been filmed at a school in Shiraz shows about 50 female pupils shouting, "Basij, get lost." Authorities have reported numerous deaths among the security forces. State-organized counter-protests have been mounted. Iran has also accused adversaries, including the U.S. and Britain, of orchestrating the unrest. Amini's death and the crackdown are compounding international tensions, already heightened by stalled negotiations on reviving Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal. Ravina Shamdasani is a UN human rights spokesperson.
There are reports that Ms. Amini was beaten on the head with a baton, and her head was banged against the vehicle by so-called morality police. Authorities have stated that she died of natural causes. Ms. Amini's tragic death and allegations of torture and ill treatment must be promptly, impartially, and effectively investigated by an independent, competent authority that ensures in particular that her family has access to justice and the truth.
Female protesters have cut their hair during rallies around the world. In France, leading actresses have cut locks out of their hair, and a Swedish member of the European Parliament snipped off her ponytail.
Women, life, freedom.
The U.S. has said it will impose further costs on Iranian officials responsible for violence against protesters.